To the graduates, your family and friends, to the faculty of the Penn Foster Group, the staff, the leadership, and special guests, greetings. Graduates, I'm honored to share this special occasion with you today and provide a few words of wisdom and encouragement as you celebrate this significant milestone in your lives. In preparation for my remarks, I learned several impressive facts about this graduating class. As Stacy mentioned earlier, over 70% of you worked while learning. That's impressive. Your ages range from 14, and the data that the school provided me said up to 65. But I met a gentleman earlier today in your class, Frank Roberts. Frank, can you stand up? Frank is 76 years young. He truly represents something that we would love to emphasize, which is lifelong learning. And your accomplishments today are just a stepping stone to wonderful opportunities, both personal and professional, that await you. And Frank, once again, is a great example of that. The most impressive things that I learned about you all are the fortitude and determination you demonstrated during your academic journey. Many of you doubted whether you should even enroll in the program that you're in. By a show of hands, who can relate to that? Really questioned whether you could do it. Look around. But you did it anyway. Many of you overcame personal and life challenges during the course of your studies that many people would have dropped out, and Andy told some of those personal stories. How many of you can relate to that? In fact, some of you thought about dropping out multiple times, but nevertheless, here you are, and you accomplished what you set out to achieve. Give yourselves a hand. I feel blessed to be here today on this very special occasion because I can sincerely relate to many of the challenges and obstacles each of you overcame. For the record, the person standing before you today, and that Alex so eloquently described, and I sat there and said, who the heck is he talking about, was a much different person years ago in my late teens and early 20s. You know, I often refer to myself in the past tense because I've had to learn that that person I used to be isn't the person I wanted to become. So I hope you can follow some of the things I'm about to say. His family and friends called him Little Tommy, mostly because he was named after his father, who weighed 250. He weighed about 120 pounds at about that time in his life. Little Tommy spent a few years in foster care early in life and eventually grew up in a public housing project in a low-income neighborhood in Washington, D.C. called Brentwood. Neither of Little Tommy's parents have high school diplomas. Most of the males in his neighborhood were expected to spend some time of their adult lives in prison or jail. The young ladies were expected to have children very early on and to rear them as single mothers. However, after spending several years in the U.S. Army and gaining hope, and once again, I appreciate that being emphasized earlier, Little Tommy decided to pursue an undergraduate degree at the University of District of Columbia, which he received in 3 years with honors. He was accepted to 13 of the most prestigious universities in the country, and he chose Harvard. And after 7 years, he left as Dr. Stewart. The question I'm often asked is, how did you transform yourself from Little Tommy to Dr. Stewart? The answer to that question is the advice and the wisdom I'd like to share with you briefly today. First, I had to recreate Little Tommy. I had to change how I thought about the future and my self-perception. I had to overcome the fear of dying early or going to prison. I I had to overcome the fact that I grew up in a poor neighborhood with a lot of distractions and potentially life-altering, if not deadly, consequences. When I decided to become Big Tommy, I had to accept that no one ever taught me how to learn. And if I did the work, I could learn anything. For example, I was reading and writing at a 9th grade level at the age of 21. I had to humbly overcome the shame and embarrassment I felt whenever I went into the writing center, or whenever I met with a tutor. And I met with tutors for nearly 2 to 3 hours a week for 2 years. My writing improved dramatically, and my confidence in my ability to grow academically grew as well. Second, I had to surround myself with people who believed in my talent and were willing to support me, and I'm sure most of you have experienced that with faculty from the Penn Foster Group. In some cases, people saw my potential, often people saw my potential before I did. On the flip side, I had to distance myself from people who wanted me to be part of their hustle, who saw me as little Tommy, who never saw me being able to achieve some of the things that I've accomplished today. I began to recreate the network of friends who genuinely wanted to work hard and to live an honest and healthy life. Last, and this one is really intimate for me, and it's probably the most important thing I could share. One of the most challenging but rewarding decisions I made was to see a therapist or a counselor. I openly shared the fear, the pain, the shame, the trauma little Tommy experienced as a poor black kid in a low wealth and high violence household and community. I discovered that all the trauma little Tommy experienced was unfortunately common for many people, and more importantly, many people have successfully overcome those challenges. I learned that many of my lived experiences gave me, and Andy said this, a form of strength, empathy, and hunger many people don't have and money can't buy. Most importantly, I learned that my childhood and young adult experiences were part of my past, and they did not have to influence my future. And I repeat that, and I'd like to rephrase that in the collective. For all of us, everything that happened to us in the past does not determine our future. Today, you're taking a massive step towards recreating yourself. You have the potential to be a new, improved version, or should I say a bigger version of yourself that keeps getting better as long as you're willing to be humble, open-minded, courageous, hardworking, and understand the value of lifelong learning. You can never get enough of learning. As we've learned here by a 67-year-old youngster, if you can close your eyes and see yourself as a business owner, a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever you want to be, you are well on your way to becoming that person, that bigger, more improved version of yourself. Never stop learning. You have proven to yourself and anyone who ever doubted you that you have what it takes. And this is just the beginning of what you are capable of achieving. In closing, at the end of each day, it's not about how much money you make, nor the titles you earn, nor what you've done for yourself. It's about who you've helped or lifted up. It's about who you've inspired and made better. It's about what you can give back and how you can make the world a better place than the one that you received. And I'd like to thank the Penn Foster Group for allowing me to hopefully say something that will lift you all up. I'm so proud of you, and when I look out in this audience, I know that all of you are capable of greatness, and many of you will be celebrities that we can't even fathom in terms of the kind of impact that you all will have. Congratulations and Godspeed.